Hello and welcome to another installment of the Dugout podcast. I'm Andrew, alongside Marissa, and we're back. And hopefully we're back and we're going to bring you another exciting, enterprising, captivating show tonight.
Captivating.
Full of, interesting topics for discussion, I guess. So Marissa, where should we start?
Oh, there's only really one place to start, and that is Australia are world champions again for the sixth time. So my question to you is, were you surprised?
I must admit that I was. I'm a little bit annoyed the fact I didn't trust my instincts because I put a lot of weight into the historical, reputation of certain teams and players, I guess. And Australia has, well, they are the historic setting world cricket. Have a huge history of, winning, I guess. And when you look at the group stage, although they started with 2 defeats, I believe, it wasn't a case where they're squeezed in or it was like patchy form. They actually won about, 7 games on the trot?
8. I have some thoughts about that, but I'll let you finish.
Yeah. So I was really on the fence about whether or not I should tip them to beat South Africa. But I bet it was South Africa because, I kind of, watching the tournament, I kind of had, gained some respect for South Africa's batting, I suppose. And I felt like knowing that Australia's bowling attack hadn't necessarily been lethal in tournament thus far, I felt like, okay, the battle's definitely there, and maybe South Africa will come out on top. But, boy, was I wrong. But yeah, even though, Australia had the momentum and stuff like that in the final, as well as India, I still felt like, to beat India in such a comprehensive manner, it's still a surprise.
Well, before I get to the game, I disagree slightly. Yes, they won 8 games in a row, but when you really look at those results, not much of those wins were convincing, So let me go back. First game after the second loss, they played Sri Lanka. At one point, Sri Lanka was like 100 and something without loss in that game. And Australia were floundering, but they pulled it back well. Convincing victory in the end. Then after that, I believe it was Pakistan. No, that was the warm-up. Let me go in order. Right. Yeah, actually it was Pakistan. Australia made 367 and Pakistan were actually in that game for a really long time until they collapsed. Netherlands was convincing. New Zealand equaled a 5-run victory after making 388. New Zealand could have easily won that. England, we know the tournament England had, but that loss was just 33 runs on the part of England. Afghanistan, remember there was like 91 for 7 at one stage before Glenn Maxwell rescued it. So for me, the reason why I don't think Australia was favourites or even anybody even contemplated winning this tournament, because their 8 wins, I think what was most impressive about the wins was the fact that they pulled them out of nowhere on some occasions. So it wasn't like 8 you know how India basically drubbed people for 10 games in a row. Australia 8 wins in a row weren't really super convincing. You could still find chinks in that arm and stuff. But like you rightfully said, what I think came together for both the semi-final and the final was the character, the pedigree, the reputation, because they're a side that knows how to win. That semi-final against South Africa, I actually believe South Africa would have defended the runs, and they almost did. But I felt like the character of Australia, they knew what they had to do. They attacked South Africa early, knowing that the pitch would get lower and slower. And Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc was there to finish off the other 30 runs, and they did it really calmly. I think other teams probably wouldn't have done it. They would have, roles were reversed, South Africa wouldn't have chased those runs. I think they would have probably collapsed and floundered. And then in the final, they were so impressive in all 3 departments. And they were playing like a team that had an aura, that knows how to win finals. The way they bowled to India, because I watched the last about 11 overs of India innings, really impressive bowling. Then the batting, they were 3 for 47. Honestly, when I say 3 for 47, like how the Australians say, they were 47 for 3. Honestly, at 47 for 3, I did not expect them to get up.
All right, wait. So a couple things that you mentioned kind of went on the track there a lot,
Okay.
So remember, the thing is, right, when you said that the 8 wins on the trot weren't like convincing. But we did say that the tournament or the teams in the World Cup were competitive, so you shouldn't expect one-sided games. That's the truth. And when you talk about character, like you mentioned the Pakistan game, you mentioned the New Zealand game. I feel like that's showing character because it might not necessarily look like they're going to win, but to turn a result in your favor at critical points is character. Maybe something that our local boys need to develop. So so I wouldn't necessarily hold those things against Australia.
Against, so I just mean that it's just an example of why, like, India came in the final 10 wins on trot, Australia came in 8 wins on trot. So I just felt like India would declare favorites.
Right, because India was the team that was everybody
was dominant. Exactly. Right, and they weren't put under that serious pressure until, to me, the final.
But like you said, in the final though, and the semi as well, Australia played like a team that knew how to win. I have respect for the highest regard for South Africa's bowling attack.
Yes.
But I felt that 212 or what's not was too small a target. I felt if they had gone to like 250, 260, that would have been definitely more challenging for Australia. And I felt the same way with India. I just felt like the 241 wasn't enough runs. I felt like they would have been more definitely happy to get like more like 280, 290.
Yeah, for sure.
Touching on 300.
But at 47 for 3 though, that 240 they look like 280, 300.
If you pan it, if you pan it, because like at 47 for 3 you're in a little bit of peril, but that's not enough peril for me just yet. Especially when we're talking about Australia, because Smith was out. I said Smith was in the shed. Warner was in the shed. And who the batsman? And Mitch Marsh would have been in the shed. And you had Labuschagne and Travis Head at the crease. I haven't seen a lot of Travis Head, to be honest. But I know Labuschagne is a touch batter. You're chasing a small target, so you don't necessarily have to go all guns.
Yeah, that was tailor-made for him.
You can't take your time and it's a case where the run with, because of the small target and because they were kind of batting at a good steady pace as well, because the difference between the two innings would have been, because there was a stage where India were well set at different points.
80 for 2 after 10 or something like that.
Yeah, and even Kohli and the guy Rahul were at the crease. They were like 1-something for 3, right? So they were still, well set. But the problem was that whereas Australia were able to keep scoring, and it never felt like Australia were like kind of like being subdued and they couldn't get any runs. India though, it felt like the runs might dry, and it was a case where it was just like, which is uncharacteristic, but a lot of dot balls, being bowled and nothing, Kohli nor Rahul is able to get away up the scoring rate. But
that was mostly because they were never in that position before where they lost 3 quick wickets. When I say quick, I mean like they were 3 down after 11 overs. That's probably the quickest they've lost 3 wickets in the whole tournament. And their behind isn't long. You got Shami coming in at 8. That's pretty high for him. So that's why, because I know online people have been critical of Rahul and Kohli, but I think that they needed to be careful because, as we saw, when Rahul was the 6th or so wicket, they didn't really get much off of that. So that's why they had to be careful at that phase. Whereas Australia, you got Pat Cummins at 8, Mitchell Starc at 9. Them is 2 people that could stick around and score some runs, unlike India's lower order.
But I have a different spin on it. Like I agree with you that they need to be careful, but I felt like you need to be careful because, like you said, when 11 overs have passed, you still got another 39 to bat. So it doesn't mean, unless you're playing beautifully, it doesn't necessarily mean that you go guns blazing. But it's still, and they did try to occupy the crease. The problem is that even when you're occupying the crease, you still need to keep it taking over, and that's where Australia was able to stop. Like you said, Australia were very good in all 3 departments. I watched the entire game. It was Sunday, no football, so it made that cricket have my full focus. But yeah, the feeling was good. The bowling, I think that was Australia's best bowling performance.
Definitely.
By a country mile.
100%. Even better than South Africa's performance, I felt.
Mitchell Starc was on it. Pat Cummins was on it. And I think India were a bit unlucky in this respect, because I felt like how Kohli got out, it wasn't that he was trying to rush or anything, that he tried to defend the ball that was sharp pitch and chopped it back on his stump. Unfortunate, or what's not. And the problem that India had as well is that even though they were well placed at times, they just kept on losing regular wickets at key intervals. So no momentum was ever able. They were not able to generate any momentum. Yeah, and that's essentially what happened. And like I said, I don't think because if first time a three crickets and the crowd are up, but like you said, Australia played like a team that knows how to win.
And they always definitely up.
And I always have this saying. I'm not sure if I ever said it on your show, but I think you've heard it before. I normally use it in football references, but
is this the pipes?
No.
Okay.
Not the pipes. And that's not my reference either.
Okay.
But this one is actually Mr. Capital original. You know, Bay teams just play anywhere. So like home or away. So what that means is that, you know, as much as crowd may be up or atmosphere may be intimidating, you know, it doesn't mean that, you know, they're not going to be intimidated by or daunted by that crowd. And that's
and I think two things on that. Pat Cummins actually said before the game that there's nothing more satisfying than silencing a big crowd. But for Australia to put in that performance in front of 130,000 Indians, that was seriously impressive. And I thought Travis Head was excellent. He's been very good for Australia over the last year. Played well in the home Ashes, played well in the away Ashes, scored 100, I think, in World Test Championship final, man match in semi-final, man match in final. Like, he was clutch for them. That was a fantastic innings under pressure as well, because that ball was hooping all over the place for their first 5 to 10 overs in their innings. And, you know, I think at one point he was 10 off 17 and he still managed to finish with a strike rate of over 110. So I thought it was a fantastic innings. The first 100 in a World Cup chase, which makes it even more impressive, away from home in front of 130,000 Indians. Yeah, and I don't know if it's because I haven't really been on the internet much over the last few days, but I feel like if this was England, I think I'll be seeing more. I think almost because it's Australia and people used to Australia, they're not getting the credit they deserve. This was everybody had India to win this final, and the fact they did it, you know, I think the semi-final was the first game that they were actually able to pick from a fully fit squad. They had injuries right through. Travis Head hand was broken at the beginning of the tournament. Like, they've faced so much. And I think that this is a really impressive victory. And I really hope they get the plaudits for it, because it honestly was fantastic game.
They have been getting the plaudits, to me at least.
Okay. Well, then
I think what we have to face reality and acknowledge at least is that cricket isn't that popular in our region anymore. And what I mean by that, and you have to also factor in that our country wasn't playing. So although it's more like it's been mentioned, but it hasn't necessarily been honed in upon.
Fair enough.
Right?
Meanwhile, I could care less about it. I enjoy myself.
Fair enough. But just saying. I think that might be one of the reasons. Something else I want to touch on as well. Why I think the victory was so comprehensive, as something that we need to mention. I feel like Australia, it was a good toss to me.
But Rohit did say he would have bat first too.
But Australia, I think Australia's safety conditions a bit better.
Definitely.
Right, so I think it was a good toss to me because it seemed like batting got easier as
because he's due.
Exactly, and being by they bowl so well and restricting India to such a modest total, that was the end result. And I have to give credit again to Pat Cummins because what I was impressed by would have been his bowling changes. He did a really, really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every, even when they needed a wicket, he made a change and he got a wicket.
Yeah. He's a good captain.
Yeah. Really impressed.
And I think he leads the team well as well.
Really impressed.
I think he's the first fast bowler to lift the World Cup as captain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, most of the others have been all-rounders.
Yeah, all-rounders. Yeah. Okay. No Kapil Dev, all-rounder.
So he's the first fast bowler.
Okay, our batsman.
Good. It's a good captain.
Because normally a lot of teams don't really select a bowler.
Exactly.
Bowler at least as the captain.
But after Sandpaper Gate and Tim Payne Gate, they didn't really have much other options.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the World Cup, but from the start of the World Cup, well, I would say from the time England start doing bad, there have been rumblings about the future of the format.
You said England started doing bad. England did bad the whole World Cup.
Honestly, from the time they lost, because they lost to New Zealand, playing against Bangladesh. Who was the third person that they played that they lost to?
Can't remember.
I can't remember, but it was after that loss that I hear people talk about, the format dying, blah blah. I think one day cricket is very long. But you see the semi-final, it's not necessarily the New Zealand-India one. Although that was pretty good in its own right. I enjoyed South Africa, Australia, India because it had those kind of mid-range scores where it was a real battle. And I find those sort of games engrossing. I think one-day cricket can get really boring if it's just pulling on runs, and there's nothing in it for the bowlers. So I think maybe if we had pitches that made games more competitive, I think one-day cricket still has a future. My only problem with the future of one-day cricket is the time. 2020 franchises popping up all over the place.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I saw online somebody made a suggestion that scrap the T20 World Cup, only have T20 franchises, and keep one-day World Cup. I didn't think that was a bad suggestion, but
scrap the T20 World Cup, just keep T20 franchises and just have
a one-day World Cup.
No, I'm not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that.
They're not gonna do that. But
I don't know if because I mean, if there's no T20 World Cup, what's the point in playing that format anyways? And like you said, T20 is kind of like the format that is, I guess, the most entertaining and most popular right now to a certain degree. If you just want to have like a quick, non-time consuming, and experience. Put it that way. What would I do if I wanted to improve the format? Well, you mentioned there that better pitches or whatever the case would be. I think like honestly, cricket is one of those games, and I mean every sport to a certain degree is like that, to be honest. So this might be a mute point, but I'll say it anyway. Like I feel like cricket is the quality of cricket game that we get is dependent on the quality of the teams that are playing. You know what I mean? If you get two competitive teams that are evenly matched, you get a good game. Most times. And even if it seems like a foregone conclusion, someone can maybe bring it back. That happens in Test cricket a lot.
Right.
When you get two good teams.
Right.
Because this debate would have raged on about Test cricket initially and whether or not that format, it was dying. I think that's a place. I think that applies to any format of cricket, and even this World Cup where you say that, like, for example, the point you made about the game is close to a certain point, but that's what you want. It's like it's just a case where maybe in the end another team's quality might overpower the other team, and then the chase may be on, but then keep on losing wickets, it falls flat. Not necessarily flat, but you know what I mean. It becomes a comfortable win in the end, that type of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I agree with you about time, but the only way to restrict your time is to make it a shorter game.
Yeah.
I saw our column that Steve Finn, former England fast bowler, wrote, and he suggested that maybe they reduce the 50 over format to 40. I mean, I think something that could be done, because generally this World Cup was 10 teams just play each other once and got the most points, wins, that type of thing. I think because although we commend teams like Afghanistan and Netherlands for the wins that they got, or the competitive games that they gave us, or the thrilling moments, because they had some games that they almost won, or they literally they were able to chance at different points. I think in this format though, generally the teams that have the better squads or have the better players are going to win. So I think maybe you might want to revisit the whole, which they are doing. I think next tournament is 14 teams rather than 10. But you definitely, I'm not sure if I want to use this 10 format approach again, because as much as it makes it kind of like concise with the quality of teams that get in, at the same time, it kind of makes it a bit more predictable about who's going to qualify. Because we know India was going to be there, that South Africa was going to be there fairly early on. Like, remember there were still like 2 or 3 games to go, and you said, I think the top 4 will stay the same. Yeah, look at New Zealand. New Zealand lost like 3 games straight.
4 apparently. 4.
4, okay, cool. See, my apologies, correction. 4 games straight, and they still got in. I mean, they still had to win the last game, but they got in. And even if they lost the last game, their net run rate was so superior to others.
And Pakistan lost to England anyway, so.
Yeah, so I feel like you might want to come back with a format like, maybe whatever more teams you have, if they have 12, 4 groups, 3 groups of 4, I don't know, or if you have 16 teams, 4 groups of 4, something along that might make it a bit more.
But the thing is, I kind of like the round robin. I don't like that certain teams just escape certain teams. So for instance,
Right. Okay.
Imagine if you had it like that and in group stage, then Afghanistan probably would not have had one of the most famous nights in their history when they beat England. Because if they're not in the same group, they're not going to play each other. But I know the 14 match, the 14 team thing going to go back to groups though.
Yeah,
because that's the only way to really
do that. Yeah, definitely. But what I would say though is that you could stop a famous night against somebody else. It might not be England, but it might be Pakistan next time, or India.
It'll beat Pakistan too, that too.
Or Australia, for example, or even New Zealand. So what I'm saying is that, but again.
Or maybe should they do, but then again, they'll make it even longer. If you do a round robin, then you do quarters and semis. But that's really long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, and then even if you have, and then remember that for me, the point of a whole tournament is that you should be trying to save the best for last. So the whole point of a tournament is that you want, weed out the weaker teams first, and then you get to the business end. So I don't have a problem if, for example, certain teams avoid each other until they both make it to the latter stages, like a Super 6 or a semifinals or whatnot.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think in the smaller groups, they might give those teams like Afghanistan and Netherlands, for example, more of a chance of qualifying and maybe sneaking into one of those knockout games.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the World Cup, though. It's a good watch. Who was your player of the tournament?
I think I would have gone with Kohli.
Yeah.
As my player of the tournament.
For sure. He was phenomenal.
You know what we did, but we missed a trick. I guess maybe we could do it next week.
What's that?
Do our own team of the tournament.
I could probably do that with my head right now.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Rohit definitely opening.
Mm-hmm.
And I will also put the guy from New Zealand to open, Ravindra.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Kohli. Number 4 is a tough choice between Shreyas Iyer from India and Daryl Mitchell from New Zealand. I'll probably give it to Mitchell because I think Mitchell scored tougher runs than Shreyas Iyer. Number 5. Who really batted at 5 really well for this tournament? Oh, yeah. Probably Henrik Klassen from South Africa.
Right, I was going to call.
Yeah. Number six. I ain't call it Australian yet, I know. Number 6.
I apologize for the time that this is taking.
Whatever.
When she said that she could do it on top of her head, I had confidence that she just rattled it off. But
Be my number 6.
Yeah, so I guess not off the top of her head then.
Yeah, apparently not. So let me skip on to my bowlers.
Okay. So we're not getting 11 of the tournament, we're getting maybe 9 or so.
If we can get the 11 just in pieces. So Zampa will be my spinner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mohammed Shami for sure. Yeah, I probably couldn't do this off the top of my head. Yeah, Boomer in there for sure. So I got 5 and 3. Oh, I got to pick a wicket keeper, Quinton de Kock, even though he's open.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be my wicket keeper batsman. So that's 6 and 3 is 9. I need 2 other players. Probably a fast bowler and an all-rounder. Oh, that guy from Sri Lanka had a pretty good tournament, even though Sri Lanka didn't make it. I think he was up there in the wicket charts. I can't remember his name, but he's a left-arm fast bowler.
I definitely wouldn't know his name. So
I think it started with S though. He'll be in there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And my all-rounder, who was the best all-rounder? Did all-rounders really stand out in this tournament? Oh, Marco Jansen. Yeah, Marco Jansen will be my all-rounder. So he'll be my number 7. See, I did it. So there we go again. Rohit, Ravindra, Kohli, Daryl Mitchell, Klassen, de Kock, Jansen, Zampa, Shami, Bumrah, and the guy from Sri Lanka.
Okay. So we have 10 players and a guy from
11.
We have 10 players and a guy from Sri Lanka.
Oh my gosh. You know what?
His name apparently.
I am not doing that to the man. I am not doing that to the man. I will find his name while you think about your 11. Are you doing your 11?
No, I'm not. Because no, I'm not doing an 11.
At least give it a try.
I give it a try for what? I don't watch enough cricket to come up with the 11.
Fair enough.
In terms of knowing.
Sri Lanka.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I would say the people that impressed me the most. Right, mm-hmm. That's cool.
Sure.
Right, so Sharma Thought he batted well when I saw him.
Yes. Really set the tone for them. Dilshan Madushankar.
Okay.
You I get it. They start with S, but hey.
Oh, well. All right, so Rohit, Kohli, definitely were impressive. I like the look of KL Rahul.
I love him. He's honestly, I love Virat, but KL is my second favorite Indian batsman.
I thought Klassen was good. Sampa as well. Is anybody else that impressed me in this tournament?
Klassen could have been my wicket keeper.
I'll go with Travis Head.
Maxwell was good too.
Yeah.
2 really good hundreds.
I'll go with Travis Head. Since his runs came in the semi and the final.
Yeah.
And else I thought
you don't pick a New Zealander yet, boy. Child boy.
Because I don't know them by name.
Poor New Zealand. We apologize.
Yeah, poor New Zealand. You know, she should apologize. But there's a batsman for New Zealand, I think, that what is he called? I think you call his name.
Daryl Mitchell. Right-hander. Scored 200s against India. Won in the semi.
Maybe. Okay. But that's as good as I could do. I didn't really put enough effort into it.
You did well enough.
But bowlers, any bowlers impressed me.
Shami was excellent considering he barely started the game. Sorry, don't.
Because if you look at the tournament as a whole, the most impressive men came from India. I know it was more
exactly. Honestly, like you could though, because they were seriously impressive.
They're really good. So Bumrah, Shami, like you said, yeah, those we want. Even the spinners, Jadeja and Kuldeep, right?
Yeah,
correct.
really did well.
Yeah. So shame about the final.
Is it though? Anyways, we'll take a quick break for a word from our sponsors.
Whole Health Pharmacy, located in Jordan's Complex, Speightstown, St. Peter, carries a variety of products to take care of you and your health. Essential oils, muscle rubs, and the run-of-the-mill medications. And definitely don't forget your vitamins. Vinci sea salt, air humidifiers, tumblers, and women's havens pads too. We got it all for you. Don't forget your Barbados and natural Vinci snacks. So for sure you're gonna keep coming back. Ever hear about structured water? Well, tell your son, tell your daughter. Whole Health Pharmacy. More than a pharmacy, we take care of you and your health.
And we're back. So, after what has felt like 10 long days, football is back this weekend. Well, 14 long days. I'm sure looking forward to football. My life is so much more peaceful when there's no football in it. But it's back this weekend. So we do a quick leaderboard update like we promised last week. I am still in the lead by 2 points. Match day 12 ended with us both getting 3 points. I can't remember what those results were. But we both got 3 points on match day 12. And I have a total of 14, while you have a total of 12. So, going into match day 13, you have 2 points to catch up. I will not put it past you to catch it up because, honestly, predicting this year's Premier League has been hard.
Interesting.
So, ready to dive right into these predictions? Manchester City at home to Liverpool. Early Saturday morning kickoff to put Klopp in the mood.
He's such a clown. Well, I'll go first. Sure. Before I go first, though, this kind of day we're here off the predictions, but we have time. Right, we have a little bit of time.
I guess, depending on the question.
Yeah, you just alluded to it. You said put Klopp in the mood. Do you think he has a point?
I don't really like to read. I don't, honestly, I would not have noticed if he didn't point it out, so I don't know.
Okay.
So not that he pointed it out, I'm just like, oh look, another early morning kickoff for Liverpool. But if he didn't point it out, I probably won't have feeling.
I feel as though I need to point out a couple of things.
But isn't it like a random thing?
No.
Oh, they do it for TV.
They do it for TV.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Because certain games go in certain time slots for TV.
Okay, right.
For TV broadcast.
It's only the order of the games that's be random.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know the time for this game would have been changed for TV.
Oh.
This game was supposed to play at different time.
Like how Chelsea playing Wolves on Christmas Eve.
But yeah.
Madness.
But I don't think Klopp's argument is really that he is really against, like, wholeheartedly against early kickoffs on Saturday. I don't think that's his argument, you know. think he's fine playing the early kickoff. I think where he's annoyed, and I kind of understand where he's coming from, is where you have the early kickoff after the national break. And we've had it so many times compared to other teams. I think we've had to play the early kickoff after the national break about 15. Let's say we have 15 times. I think that's closest talking about 6. That's a
crazy.
huge disparity after the national breaks. I mean, consider that we have a lot of South American players who travel all over to play the nationals, and then you only getting back to Liverpool probably Thursday night or the Friday morning, and you have a game on the Saturday. I think that's where he's complaining about the disadvantage coming from.
Okay.
I still have it to a certain degree too. I think I'm pretty sure they have Alvarez and maybe a couple others, maybe South Americans.
Yeah, but City hardly thinking about it. When I think about big games in early, City hardly have early Saturday kickoffs.
No, I was just talking about in terms of this particular fixture.
Yeah, fair enough. But I was just thinking in terms of teams. Because I know where I usually am at that time. I have seen Liverpool for sure. I've seen Tottenham once or twice.
Right.
I've barely seen Chelsea on the early morning kickoff, early Saturday morning kickoff, once in a while. I have hardly ever seen Arsenal.
Right, because I don't think it's a case where Klopp is saying we should never play on Saturday. Obviously, if you play Thursday, you shouldn't play Saturday morning early kickoff. But let's say we had a game the Monday evening, or maybe had a game Wednesday. I think Klopp would find him playing the Saturday early morning kickoff. I think his issue is more when it comes to right after the national break. Always Liverpool all the time as compared or as opposed to the other teams.
I understand.
So I think that's where his argument comes from.
Fair enough.
Having said that, I'll make my prediction now. I'm going to go 2-2. Yeah. I'm not going to pick root against my guys to get a defeat. So I'll hope, fingers crossed, that they can pull out a draw. And I'll go 2-2.
A draw is not a bad show. But 3-2 Man City.
Okay. That might be the result though. But fair enough.
Chelsea away at Newcastle. Oh, right, me. So you went first on Liverpool, I go first on Chelsea. How ironic. Newcastle are so good at home, right? It's so hard to go for a Chelsea win. But I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. 2-1 Chelsea.
Cool.
I can regret that so much.
Your game before the national break was against who?
City.
Okay,
before
4. Right. I am gonna go on a limb, and I know Newcastle would have. They lost to Bournemouth last match their own, and the game before that would have been.
I can't remember. Let me see. So Bournemouth was last match day. I think the previous one was 2-2 with Wolves.
2-2 with Wolves. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, so they're right on track to get a result against Chelsea then.
Right, because I was saying I don't think that they will go 3 games before a win.
Yeah.
So I'll go 2-1 Newcastle.
Should probably check that for my prediction. Arsenal away at Brentford.
2-1 Arsenal.
What was Brentford's last game?
I can't help it.
I think it was an impressive result though. But football has been so long ago, man.
Yeah. But so we'll pull it out quickly. Oh, no, apparently I can't. Let me see. Brentford's last game. Oh no, wait. Right, Brentford's last game was 3-0 to Liverpool. I forgot I played Brentford.
Oh, how did you forget that?
Exactly. I think about Brentford. Sorry, but yeah. They lost 3-0 away to Liverpool.
Okay. I feel tempted to do a 1-1. Yeah, I'll go 1-1.
Okay. That would be last kickoff on Saturday.
Yeah, so then Sunday is Spurs Villa.
Spurs Villa. But I think you should go first this time though.
Oh yeah. 2-2. I think these predictions are awful. This is probably going to be my worst match week. These are awful predictions. How did they seriously go 1-1 Arsenal and Brentford and 2-2 Tottenham and Villa? Ugh. Anyways, I'll stick to my 2-2.
She said 2 Tottenham Villa?
Yeah. These are awful predictions.
I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham.
I wasn't ready for this that way.
Because I don't think Tottenham again. I think Tottenham will go 3 games for.
But Villa are really good right now.
Against certain teams.
Fair.
I'll go 2-1 Tottenham. I think, well, wait. Tottenham got injuries. I already said 2-1 though, so yeah, I can't change it.
Right, no, you can't.
But I probably could.
I could change all my predictions. I wouldn't mind changing all my predictions.
And then karma will hit you and you get over.
It's true,
So
that's just the game.
But I'll go 2-1 Tottenham.
I think it's a really interesting game because we didn't touch on this. Everton's 10-point deduction.
Well, yes.
I haven't read on it, so I can't really comment much.
Touch on it after the. Well, yeah, fair enough. So you haven't read on it. So
I haven't read on it. I just know it happened. I've been very busy.
Busy in a nutshell, they have been punished for alleged,
FFP breaches, and I know that the 3 teams that got relegated last season suing them as well. That's all I know.
Right.
Yeah. So this is going to be a really interesting game because you have. Go ahead.
But you know what's interesting? Well, is I think there's still a cloud of allegations against Man City, and I think there's also
115 charges.
And there's still.
Yeah, because of Abramovich.
Yeah, so if I put 10 on Everton, I think if City and Chelsea are found to be guilty, they go up put something more severe on y'all.
But the difference with Chelsea though is that when the new owners came in and they found irregularities, they reported them. You didn't hear about that?
No, but the thing about Everton is that Everton was cooperating. It wasn't like Everton did like City or whoever else and said them innocent. Everton were cooperating, trying to get this resolved. From my understanding.
Yeah, 10 is harsh.
I think I'm happy that the fact that they did it early, rather than
to give them time to. I understand. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Let's say they did it in March.
But didn't City's 115 charges come out before this investigation into Everton?
As far as I know, yeah.
And that's where I think people have a right to feel. Evertonian fans have a right to feel aggrieved because it doesn't feel. Since you've heard about those 115 charges, you haven't heard anything.
I'm not sure what's happening there.
Probably nothing.
But maybe we can revisit this next week when both of us get an opportunity to read a bit more about it.
Yeah. And I'll read up on if Chelsea's issues have to do with something else or what they would have reported already.
Okay.
But I know for a fact that they paid whoever some money because when they came in, they noticed some financial irregularities.
Right.
When they were doing their auditing.
Right.
But so I have to look more into that. But yeah, the reason I think this game is going to be interesting because of that 10-point deduction. And then you're coming up against a Man U who the form guy says Man U is the form team of the league. But apparently they've taken more points than most people during this period, apparently, because they haven't lost a game in 4 or 5 or something like that.
What was their last defeat would have been the game against City?
Yeah. So they beat Brentford, beat Fulham.
But Brentford wasn't before.
I can't remember, but when I saw it, it says that they have picked up more points.
Okay.
Or whatever. But so you have an Everton side that probably can feel aggrieved and really want to put a show, especially at Goodison.
Right.
Then you have a Man United side that you really don't know what you can get from week to week. I think I back Everton to win this.
Interesting.
And they're not playing bad either. So I would say I could see a dogged 1-0. A typical dicey performance.
Interesting.
That's another bad prediction, by the way. But
I'm going 1-0 to Man U, actually. Again, another dodgy performance, but we just have opposing views on who will actually come on top.
Fair enough.
But I'm actually predicting a incohesive, incoherent type of Man U performance. But a Bruno Fernandes late goal special.
Should we start giving them credit for being able to get results when they're not playing well?
Either Bruno or Matt Domine. But to answer your question about should I give him credit for... have you ever known a Liverpool fan to give my credit when that's happened?
And I can't bring myself to do it. It's
You're joking, man. I
mean, they say a mark of a good team is when you play badly.
Yeah, they do.
All right, yourself.
I'm not hurting. I'm not hurting myself. So like, I'm just trying to. I give kind of like a flippant response initially when you ask a question. I'm not trying to really internalize
think and
it
process. Okay.
and think about whether or not we, it's a case that we should give Man credit for winning games ugly, as they like to say.
I know my answer.
To a certain degree, because winning is winning. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as you know. So winning is winning. But I guess it's okay to give them credit, but at the same time, I think where the measure has to be put in place is that you can't, definitively say, well, they're back or they're on the way to recovery or whatever the case would be, because Man U's, again, history and DNA almost demands. That's why their fans, even winning the USA for a couple of years, yeah, they were happy to get a couple of trophies or what's not, but you could never get like that feeling of security and success, because Man U, as a club, the DNA of that club, the fabric of that club demands that they win, but not only win, but they win playing a certain style of football, a certain brand, a certain way. Their fans are not going to accept. Their fan base won't accept. Season by season, as somebody said, I've termed it playing underdog football, and basically trying to just play transition football or win on the counter. So that's why, as much as you want to give them credit, I think if they played that when they got a result against City or Liverpool or Arsenal, they would get credit for that.
Fair point.
When it's lesser teams, they know.
Fair point. And what I would say too is that there's a difference between when you're not playing well and you win anyways, and you win ugly. Right. But I think in these games, man, you have also been incredibly lucky.
Right.
So I think too, when that luck game run out eventually.
Oh, please. It's it's the quality of Bruno and the quality of Scott. Yeah.
Because Fulham can't finish, and instead of focusing on defending, Brentford celebrating goal kicks late, then win the game already. Never forget that, The man was literally celebrating when they got a goal kick, because it was deep in extra time anyways. So I guess he thought the game was over, and then made Scotty Matt pop up with 2 goals. Anyways, I can't be bothered. Football is back, which means my depression will be back. So hey. So anything else to add before we wrap up?
From my part, no. I just want to thank our viewers for tuning in. Please like and share and subscribe. Yeah. We really appreciate those who tune in and who watch and who support, for sure. Yeah, and that's it from me.
Yeah. And congratulations, Australia.
Congratulations, Australia. Yeah. Before we go, speaking of, thanking people for their support, I also want to thank Spirit-Led Studios again for the great job that they've been doing. I said daily if there are multiple people. But eventually it might become multiple people. But yes, I want to thank Shaq for the great job that he's been doing. We also want to thank our sponsors at Whole Health Pharmacy for supporting us and giving us a little big up for us not. And you can follow us at the Dugout _podcast.
You came prepared.
No, I just teacher repetitiveness.
Fair enough.
And you can find me at Drew9106 on Instagram and follow Marissa at Resystem107.
No, you were so close.
Resystem191.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay. You put pressure on me. You put pressure on me with that last comment, but we came prepared. So I was like,
boy.
At first I was gonna just turn over to you like last week, but then you had anyhow. You can follow her at Resystem191. I got it wrong again.
No, you're right. Okay. I just laughing at you.
Yes, sir. All right.
So yes, he said it all. So we'll be back here next week with another episode of The Dugout. And whether you're watching this day, night, morning, evening, enjoy whatever you do.